So welcome to the Second Soulmate Summit, where this time round we are discussing how to quickly discern if he's a great guy without the drama. And today I am delighted to introduce you to our amazing expert speaker, Carisa Montooth. So welcome, Carisa.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, likewise, really excited. So before we start, Carisa, I'll just tell the audience a little bit about you and then we'll dive straight into the topic. So Carisa is a love coach and a sixth generation certified healer. And she helps women, single women, how to date and attract marriage-minded single men without self-sabotage. And so she uses lots of practical tools and very powerful energetic healing techniques and helps her clients just to identify where they're getting stuck in love and how to actually heal those blocks to love, and also just how to navigate the dating world with ease and grace and confidence, which is absolutely fabulous and amazing. And I'm sure we're going to have a really interesting conversation today, Carisa. So welcome once again, Carisa.
Thank you.
So Carisa, what is it actually, what is that sort of the biggest fear or myth that stops women from putting themselves back out there when they're dating, would you say?
I think that the biggest fear is that the cycle that they're in, the pattern that they've been seeing up to that point, is permanent. And that's just the way my life is now. And so I won't be able to break out of it. It's this fear that says, this is just the way it is for me now. You know, I think that that's the biggest fear that I see. Sometimes other fears that I see are things like, well, the dating world has changed so much since I was dating before that it's going to be impossible for me to kind of navigate this, or that that I'm going to meet, that there's no one compatible left, you know, or that my time for having my soulmate in my life is past now. I got to have that person and it was wonderful, but now that's it for me. I got one shot. No one can be that lucky, you know, more than once. No one can be that fortunate more than once. So there are lots of things like that, lots of fears that I see like that when women are re-entering the dating world after having lost a soulmate, or whether that's through the person passing on or whether that's through a breakup or however.
Yeah, totally. And how would you say that those fears tend to show up then in what you've noticed through working with your clients?
Well, there are a lot of ways that those fears show up. One of the things that I see is when it's like a kind of compulsive need to date online. And it comes up as this I don't want to end up alone kind of a thing. Or I'm seeing that my friends are dating online and they seem to be meeting people, so maybe I'm missing out and that's where I should be. So that's one of the things that I see, a big fear. Another thing that I see often is, or one of the, how it's kind of showing up in women's lives, is this belief that like men only want a certain type of woman or something like that. And if I don't look like a supermodel, or if I have a child and I'm a single parent, or those kinds of things, it's these kind of self-limiting beliefs that really come up a lot. And then we behave as though they're true. Yeah. And it keeps a lot of opportunities, or just chances for connection. It keeps them at bay because we just take ourselves out of the running before we are even able to allow that experience to happen.
So true, so true. And I can really relate to that. When I was dating after I lost my first partner, and I held myself back for so long, and in the end I ended up going through a lot of different partners, and just for the sake of it, really, I didn't want to be alone, and I didn't want to. So I guess, what's the best way of going about dating in that situation if you are getting dates and you are meeting lots of men, but they're not necessarily the right guys for you? Is there, what can you sort of say about
Well,
that?
well, that means the same thing as wanting to date and not dating anyone. And what it means is that there are things going on in our energy that need to be addressed first. And usually what we're seeing in energy are three different things that I see over and over again. One is that we might have a breakup wound, and there are 5 different kinds of breakup wounds. Another problem is that we have these limiting beliefs because we're sending them out and they keep manifesting back in our lives, and we take that as evidence that the belief is real, but we're really creating this self-confirming evidence all the time. And then another thing is that we can have an energetic cord that's still attached to an ex that needs to be addressed. So I see those things as the main things in energy that we need to deal with, because once those things are cleared, it's almost like the person is waiting to come into our lives. And when we clear those things out, then there's a space for them and they can show up, you know. So, but when we keep trying to think we have to put ourselves out there, I have to put myself out there more, I have to do this, I have to do this, we're really kind of running away from the energetic issue that, if we addressed it, would make it so much easier. Otherwise, it's like we're trying to drive with the parking brake on. You know, it's just not really working.
I love that analogy. That is amazing. And it's funny that you said that, because the minute I cleared a lot of my blocks, that's when I actually spotted the email from my now husband. He'd emailed me about 2 weeks before, and I hadn't even paid it any attention, and it was just going back through them. And I could have totally missed him. Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. Well, and that tells you 2 things, right? Because it tells you how important it is to clear out the energetic stuff, but it also tells you that it's really impossible to meet, to miss your meeting with your soulmate. It's going to happen.
Okay,
right?
Tell me more.
So it's going to happen. So that sometimes is another fear, is like, I'm not going to be in the right place at the right time, or I'm not going to be looking hard enough, or I'm going to, I'm going to miss out on this person. But really, that's not going to happen, because what's for you is for you, what's for you. But it's funny that you said that about clearing out and then you're able to see him, because that happens so often. And one of my clients, Dawn, she's a nurse, and when we were working to clear out energetic things in her life and in her heart, she had a similar experience where there was someone who was asking her out at work, but she just didn't pay attention to him at all. Like, she just didn't, she thought, oh, he's a little bit younger than me. And I just, no, it's just not going to work out. Well, once she cleared these things out of her energy, she was able to actually listen to him and see him in a different way, and see that he was actually really good, a very good-hearted person, and awesome. Sincerely interested in her, and he was really pursuing her in a very gentlemanly way.
Okay.
That was just so sweet. But she just couldn't see him at all until she was able to clear things energetically, and now they're engaged.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? It's that we have this idea in our head of what he's going to look like, or what he should do, what job he should have, and without thinking about those other things that you just literally mentioned. You reeled off an amazing list there of the things actually that are the things to look out for. If you're deciding, if you've got somebody who you're dating, and unless he's doing any of those things, then perhaps it's a sign that maybe
not really a good match.
Not
there.
A great match.
It might be a sign that maybe we're just wanting, that either we haven't ever been asked what we want, so we haven't given it much thought, or we don't believe it's possible for us to have it, so we're just kind of settling in a way for what we think we can have right now, what's possible for us right now. But what I found is the clarity in terms of what you want in a relationship comes after the healing.
Okay.
Because the limiting, it's hard if you have a bunch of limiting beliefs about what's possible for you, and then I ask you to make a list of what you want. Your list of what you want is going to be based on what you think is possible for you, which is not necessarily true. But once we clear out these limiting beliefs and you start to think, oh my gosh, maybe it is, I'll give you an example. There was a client I had, and she kind of wanted to skip the healing part of things and just go straight to the manifesting part of things, because that's exciting for people, and they hear a lot about the law of attraction, and I use a tool that works really quickly. And so a lot of people see it as like a magic wand, and they're like, I don't want to do the healing stuff. I just want to jump to the manifesting thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what she wanted to do. So she did a love list, which is a tool that I use where we go over 4 different things that you're looking for, 4 different areas that you're looking for, areas of compatibility. And she wrote out her love list. It was really great. And then she attracted the person into her life.
Okay.
And one of the things that she said in her love list was that she wanted someone who was an excellent provider financially, was happy to provide financially for her and for her boys, and who had a very strong work ethic. And those were really important things to her. So she manifested the person who had those things. And the problem was she didn't really get to see him that much. He was happy to pay for her boys for school or for everything they needed and buy them clothes and, take care of her bills and all those things for her. He genuinely cared about her and wanted to take care of her financially. But the problem was they couldn't spend time together. And when we went backwards to the list, what we were able to kind of discover together was this idea that she had in her mind, which said, it's only possible to have money if I give away all of the time. She didn't see any other example in her mind or in her life ever that wealth could come into her life or anyone's life without giving up all of their time. So because she was operating from that limiting belief, she wrote it into the manifestation of the person coming.
And that's what turned up.
And that's exactly what turned up. Because she could have said, he is financially successful in a career that he is passionate about that allows him plenty of time to spend with us. And she could have said that for herself as well, because her idea was also that wealth could only come to her through a partner. So she had these 2 limiting beliefs that were sort of in the background. And when she wrote her love list, it seemed lovely to her. What a beautiful list. And then she manifested from it. But it's just a tool. It can only create according to the clarity of your own vision. And that's based on your healing.
And so was it then, so because she'd sort of done it back to front, what did that mean for that relationship? I mean, was it a good relationship anyway, or did she?
It was a good relationship, but it wasn't a sustainable relationship for her because, a lot of times that's the thing about a love list is that you can use it to attract someone, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll be happy with that, because it's like the universe always says yes, right? So you get what you asked for, not what you wanted. So you have to be so clear in the way that you ask, and that clarity comes from healing the limiting beliefs, healing the wounds, so that you're not responding as like a knee-jerk thing from a wound that you're trying to heal, or responding from a limiting belief.
Okay.
Is so necessary.
Yeah, and I get that. And so let's say if somebody is dating, and if they're not meeting their matches, they're not just, or
they're getting crickets.
They're either getting crickets or they're getting a lot of very low quality men, or maybe they're just getting men, but they're not sure about them, and they're not really showing. Would you say that that's a clear sign that they've got some inner healing to do?
That's a clear sign that there's healing necessary, because part of it is that they're receiving what they believe they deserve. They're receiving what they believe is possible. And they're receiving more of what they have always received in the past. So that's showing a pattern, and it's a pattern in energy. So it's funny, because if you're in that situation and say you're not meeting anyone in person, and then you say, oh, I'm going to date online. So you go online, and then you're still not meeting people.
Same thing.
And then you say, well, maybe I'm on the wrong dating app. And it's none of those things. It's not that you're not online. It's not that you're not out there more. It's not that you're on the wrong dating app. It's an energetic thing that needs to be cleared. Because once it's cleared, there's so much, there's ease with the person coming in. You're not having the feeling like anytime that you're trying to manifest love, trying to attract love and bring that second partner in, and you do something because you feel like you should, You do something because you feel like, well, I guess I better do this. It's not coming from a place that is an energy of love. It's not coming from, it's coming from this place of like, I'm afraid that I'm going to miss out, or I am resigned to a situation that's not good for me, or whatever the thing is. But
so that's that whole lack and that whole sense of and nothing's ever going to happen, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the online dating, because I mean, I guess in these kind of coronavirus times, it's it seems like it's kind of the most practical way to meet people. So would you say that you still like, even in these times, do you need to go online if you want to date, if you want to meet somebody new?
I don't think you need to go to an online dating site necessarily, because what I think is interesting is that there are 3 ways that I've seen soulmates show up in people's lives. And none of them are completely dependent on having to be online. But the first way is that somebody who was in your past in whatever capacity, and you didn't think of them in a romantic way, they show up again in your present, but now you think of them in a romantic way. You're able to see them in a romantic way. And that could be, you could be connected to that person on Facebook right now. That person could be someone you know through your family right now, So it's not necessary for you to be online and on Match.com or something like that to meet that person.
Got it. Right? So you mean like somebody who maybe you knew them, but maybe you were both in a relationship before and now you're both single?
Maybe someone from high school and you just always thought of them as a friend, exactly those kinds of things. It's usually somebody like that. That's one way. Another way is it's someone who's in your life right now, and they show up in a new way to you because you've healed some things, like the situation with Dawn, or some of those other things. And that's someone who's in your life right now already. So you would connect with them in that way. You're already connected to them. And then the third way is that you have someone in common right now that you didn't know you had in common, and that person will connect the two of you. So that's not in none of those 3 ways do you need to be on a dating app. It's like and it does sometimes happen that way where you're on a dating app, but even so, it's very, I see it very rarely happen. The vast majority of the women that I work with that clear out the energetic thing, it's one of those 3 ways that they meet the person, and they're always so relieved that they don't have to go online. But then what's different now is that then they actually date online. Which is different. What we think of as online dating before coronavirus is actually online meeting. Right? It's or online screening, sort of. And like you meet them, you screen whatever, and then you try to take it into real life as soon as you can. Well, what we're doing now, which I think is really lovely actually, is that we're taking all of this time to get to know each other without there being a physical component that is putting pressure on it. So what I'm seeing is women and their partners meeting, and they're having these long, lovely conversations on Zoom every day, and they're having dates where they'll have dinner delivered, and put some music on, and they talk and chat and have a glass of wine together. Or even I've seen dates where they go to drive-ins, and they each go in their own car, but they have their phones so they can talk to each other. They're watching the movie together, or they'll have a picnic at the park, and they're just on separate blankets, but they're close enough to talk. So I see all these really beautiful developments in terms of like courtship and getting to know each other and being like a consistent presence in each other's lives, and having like a deeper appreciation for who each other is before they can even get to that stage of making things physical, which I think is a really good thing.
And I guess that's a great clue right there. If you've met a guy who's willing and he wants to get to know you, whatever it takes, do whatever it takes to get to know you in that safe kind of way, without putting any pressure on you, then Yeah, I guess that's a pretty big sign that he's
That's a
he's a
huge
keeper.
sign. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And and just, you know, I think that it's so lovely just to hear everything that you've you know, that you've been talking about, because I do really agree that the key and the bit that people don't, that women, a lot of women, if they're single and they've been single for a while, that it's actually really hard to look inside and to do that healing work, because I think that's, you know, you sort of don't really want to
We
go
don't
there
want to
very
look
much.
at it.
Mm.
And also we have blind spots, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
our blind spots are just, they're called blind spots for a reason, right? It's so hard
Mm.
for us to be able to see them. So sometimes we see them because we see the same patterns showing up over and over and over again. And then a part of us goes, I'm the common denominator in this.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's something that I need to do differently, or something that's going on, you know.
Mm.
And that's the beginning of healing, is just going, I'm the common denominator. Just that first kind of glimmer of, and then going, okay, I think maybe there's something that I can do differently here that would be healthier for me.
Yeah. And would you say, like, based on all the women that you've worked on, has there ever been any women who, let's say, they've done the work and they're still having problems? They've done the healing
Well,
and they're still, or...
there is, I like to share always with my clients that 87% of the women who work with me, they go on to have happy, healthy, committed relationships within 3 to 6 months of our work together.
Mm.
But that does mean there's that 13%, right?
Yeah.
And so what I've seen with that 13% is that it's either they got kind of scared as it got closer, and there was like a self-sabotage thing that took over, because we don't only have, we have fears that it won't happen, but we also have fears about, well, what if it does happen and then this other thing happens? So it can be like, what if it happens and I lose the person again? You know?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it's because they kind of get to the brink there, and it's so close and they can see it, and maybe they're even dating a wonderful person, but they just can't quite follow through with that. And that's always heartbreaking, because, you know, because it's so close. It's so close. And the fear is sometimes the thing we're terrified of having happen, right? It very rarely happens, right? So if they're in this situation, they were to say to this new partner, I have these terrifying fears that I will love you and my heart will be broken again. There's no person I can think of in the world that they would be with that would say, well, that's ridiculous and what's wrong with you, and, you know, kind of bail on you. A person who you would go that far with in the first place would hold you and say, I'm here for you. I want to be with you. You're okay. It's going to be okay. You know, but a lot of times the hardest thing for us to do is to tell the truth about how we feel and be vulnerable. And we can do all of these other things. But if we are not willing to do that practical last step, sometimes that takes a bit more healing to do.
Awesome. So true, Carissa. That's so true. And Carissa, I mean, you've given us such valuable information this evening, and I believe you also have a wonderful free gift for the audience, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So we were talking about the different things that need to be healed in order to bring in new love. And one of those categories was breakup wounds. There are 5 different breakup wounds, and I've written a free ebook that talks about those 5 different breakup wounds and shows you how to heal them. So that can be found at theheartachecure.com. It's a free ebook, and it shows you each of the 5 breakup wounds, how you'll know if you have it, and what you can do to heal it for yourself so that you can be on the way to bringing that new person into your life.
Oh, that sounds incredible, Carissa. I mean, that sounds like such a valuable gift for the audience, because I think anybody who's known that pain of breakup, it's a lot
Yeah.
to get over. And I think, as you said, I think the key to not sabotaging or, you know, committing self-sabotage on your next relationship is
Yeah.
actually to get over those breakup wounds
It
and
is. And a lot of
heal
times,
from them. Yeah.
to heal from them. And a lot of times we're not even aware that we still carry them. So it's a good
Mm,
thing to be able to read through and
yeah.
look at which ones you might have and address them.
Fantastic. And you can find Carissa's amazing ebook, her free ebook, by clicking the button just below. And please do download that, because I'm sure that that will be amazingly helpful if you are in that situation where you've got those wounds that you still need to cure. So Carissa, you know, thank you so, so much for everything. I can't tell you how amazing it has been to actually speak to you and for you to have you share and just listen to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah,
for having
really enjoyed that. And and thank you as well to our audience for listening. And join us, please, for our next interview on the Second Soulmate Summit. Thanks very much. Bye.